If you know anything about the INFJ personality type, the idea of them choosing a career in teaching or customer service might seem contradictory at first. These are roles that require constant social interaction, emotional availability, and a level of patience that gets tested daily, sometimes hourly. INFJs are introverts. They recharge through solitude. They find large amounts of social interaction genuinely draining. So, why do so many of them end up in exactly these kinds of people-facing roles? And more importantly, why do they stay, even when the work consistently costs them more energy than almost any other profession would? The answer is more layered than it looks, and understanding it explains a pattern that repeats itself across INFJ lives in almost every culture and every country. Start with the most obvious reason. INFJs are exceptionally good at working with people, and the world notices that before the INFJ fully understands the cost. From a young age, INFJs tend to be the person others come to with problems. They listen without judgment. They ask the right questions. They make people feel genuinely understood in a way that is surprisingly rare. Teachers, guidance counselors, family members, and employers pick up on this quality early and often steer INFJs toward roles where it can be used: customer service, counseling, education, social work, and any other profession that involves managing human interaction at a consistent and demanding level. The INFJ steps into these roles partly because they are good at them, and partly because being needed feels meaningful to a personality type that is deeply motivated by purpose. Helping someone understand something, solving a problem for someone who is frustrated, guiding a student through a concept they were struggling with. These things feel genuinely worthwhile to an INFJ in a way that purely transactional or data-focused work often does not. There is also the idealism factor, and this one is significant. INFJs are natural idealists, meaning they are motivated by a vision of how things could be rather than just how things currently are. When an INFJ enters a teaching role, they are not just thinking about delivering a lesson plan. They are thinking about the impact that effective communication and genuine connection could have on a student's confidence, opportunities, and future. When they enter a customer service role, they are not just thinking about closing a ticket. They are thinking about what it would mean to be the one person in that customer's frustrating experience who actually listened and actually helped. This idealism is one of the most powerful motivators an INFJ has, and it keeps them in difficult roles long past the point where a more pragmatic personality type would have calculated the cost and moved on. The problem is that idealism has a shadow side when it meets the reality of high-volume, system-driven service work. Teaching at scale, whether in a physical classroom or an online platform with back-to-back sessions, means that the deep, meaningful connection the INFJ craves in their professional interactions is not available for every student, every day, in every session. Some students are disengaged. Some are rude. Some are going through something difficult and bring that energy into the lesson without explanation or apology. Customer service work is even more direct about this reality. The system is designed for throughput, not depth, and the INFJ, who entered the role hoping to make a genuine difference, quickly discovers that the structure of the work does not support the kind of interaction they find meaningful. The gap between what the INFJ hoped the role would be and what it actually demands on a daily basis is one of the primary sources of burnout in this personality type. There is another reason INFJs end up in these roles that does not get discussed enough, and it is more uncomfortable to acknowledge. Many INFJs grow up in environments where their emotional sensitivity and interpersonal skill were used by the people around them rather than genuinely valued. They became the family mediator, the person who managed other people's emotional states to keep the peace, the one who was expected to be patient, available, and understanding regardless of what was happening in their own inner world. This early conditioning creates a pattern where the INFJ unconsciously gravitates toward roles that replicate this dynamic. Roles where their job is essentially to absorb other people's emotions, manage difficult interactions, and maintain a composed and helpful exterior regardless of personal cost. Teaching and customer service fit this pattern almost perfectly, which is part of why INFJs slide into them so easily and why leaving feels so disorienting even when staying is clearly damaging. The stress that these roles create for INFJs is real, and it is specific. It is not just the volume of interaction, it is the quality of what is being asked of them in each interaction. An INFJ does not do surface-level connection easily. When they engage with a student or a customer, they are fully present in a way that costs genuine energy. They are reading the person, adjusting their approach, managing the emotional temperature of the conversation, and investing authentic care into the outcome. Doing this repeatedly, across many interactions per day, without the recovery time that an introvert needs between meaningful exchanges, produces a type of exhaustion that goes beyond physical tiredness. It is the depletion that comes from giving something real in exchanges that frequently do not give anything real back. This is compounded in cross-cultural work, particularly for INFJs working with Japanese or Korean students, because the communication style in those interactions often requires the INFJ to suppress their natural instincts entirely. As we have discussed in previous videos, Japanese communication in particular operates on a surface level of managed politeness that the INFJ's sensitivity reads constantly as incomplete or hollow. The INFJ is picking up signals all the time, sensing that the student is not truly engaged, that the politeness is a performance, that something is being left unsaid, but the cultural context makes it inappropriate to address any of it. This is genuinely exhausting for a personality type that is wired for authenticity and depth. So why do they keep doing it? Because despite all of this, INFJs find moments in these roles that feel genuinely worth it, and those moments are powerful enough to reset the cost calculation repeatedly. The student who finally understands something they have been struggling with, and the change in their voice when it clicks. The customer who is furious at the start of the call and grateful by the end. The session that started awkwardly and found genuine momentum. These moments are not frequent enough to make the work easy, but they are meaningful enough to make it feel worthwhile in a way that is hard to walk away from. For a personality type that is fundamentally motivated by impact, even occasional evidence that the work matters is enough to keep going. The healthiest version of an INFJ in a teaching or service role is one who has learned to protect their energy deliberately, who cancels sessions that feel immediately wrong, who maintains clear boundaries around what they will and will not absorb from difficult students or customers, who has developed a realistic rather than idealistic relationship with what the work can and cannot provide, and who has built enough structure into their day to allow for genuine recovery between interactions. The role does not have to destroy you to be meaningful, but it will destroy you if you keep giving it everything without protecting anything for yourself. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful or relatable, please subscribe to join my journey toward 2,000 videos. On this channel, I share unfiltered ESL stories, yes, even the toxic ones, alongside Japanese and Korean language tips, my plants, my pets, and the reality of solo living. If you'd like to support my work and help me build my retirement fund, you can buy a treat for my pets via the link in the description below. Every bit of support helps keep this channel independent and growing. See you in the next one. Take care.